Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode on the Technical Beast server. It is FTB time, and last time we set up this cactus farm, which is now a lot bigger. Before I went to bed I thought I'd take some time to make it as big as I could, and I think there's about 4 stacks of block breakers here, which is an awful lot of materials. But overnight, which was about 12 hours ago that I went to bed, and we have produced almost 100 stacks of cactus, and also this chest is full up as well. So that's a good sign that this is a decent way to set up a cactus farm. However, I might not be going down the cactus route anymore, which isn't a bad thing because we can leave this here. It doesn't always have to be running, and we've got cactus for dyes now as well. That's another project that I'd like to finish sometime, but I'm not really going to be focusing on that at the moment because I've been focusing on the biofuel, and this might not be the best method for getting that, so I'll talk about that in a moment. What we're actually going to go and look at first is my steam boiler setup. So here's the steam boiler, and this is how I'm thinking of doing it. We would have a corridor that you walk down the middle, and then on either side you'd have these steam boilers. And so one of the things I'd considered in the design was the bandwidth that each of these connections to the steam boiler can take steam out of it. So I can't seem to right click on it. There we go. Yeah, so we have a certain amount of steam in there, and there's a bandwidth of how much we can take out per tick. So that's why we have 4 connections here. And if we really did need a 5th one, then I could just move these down by 1 block. And then they go into the industrial steam engines, which are going to produce 8 megajoules per tick, and between them that's 24. And so they'll go into the energy tesseract, which I think has a bandwidth of 100 per second. So for every 4 of these that we build, we'll have 4 energy tesseracts that take the energy in, and then elsewhere we'll have 1 that takes it out and puts it into a storage system for all of the megajoules that we're going to be producing. So then these liquid ducts at the front are going to input water and biofuel. And it did occur to me that I don't know how this works 100%, and perhaps you could put in even more water and biofuel and have it running even faster. So in that case, we could always put some at the back here out of view. And also this space at the back could be used to create EU as well. We could put a steam turbine back here as well, but at the moment I'm going to be focusing on producing MJs. So that's my design. I think it looks pretty cool. And with a room that's designed well, you know, with the right materials on the top and the walls at the back, we can make it look really fancy and have a little walkway that goes down the middle. I think that's going to be fun to do. So that should produce a ton of megajoules over time, because we'll design it with a corridor so that we can continuously expand it in one direction. So I've been calculating how much steel we're going to need to do this. You can see here I've calculated each of the parts, and in total that setup there, the other materials, they don't really cost a lot, so I haven't calculated them yet, but for all of the steel we're going to need 141, so that's just over 2 stacks of steel, and that's not going to be too much at all. So if we fly up here, I can show you the steel that I've been producing using King Happy's setup. We have 56 stacks of steel there, and if we keep these relays topped up, underneath them we have coke coal ovens on either side, which feed into, I think is just a industrial blast furnace. No, I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, it's just a blast furnace, okay. And so the coke coal gets fed into there, and then we have all this iron going down into that as well. So we have that on one side and on the other side as well, and all I do is keep these relays topped up, and we're producing tons and tons of steel. So when we go to build this, we should have enough to build a really big setup from the beginning. So as well as that, I've been doing some crafting up here using the fabricators. Now if we have a look in here, you can see this one crafts pistons, so I've got some of the materials for that in, and I'm sure you've all seen this before. We've got the block breaker in here, but what I want to do at one point, when I've got to the point where I know everything that I need to create the whole system, is do one big craft where we set up tons of fabricators for all the blocks that we need and calculate all of the raw materials and then dump them into the chests and like craft everything in a few minutes. That would be a fun way to do some crafting on this game. And you know what, I've really grown to these fabricators. I was kind of against them at first, but it feels like when you've got to a point in the game where you've spent a lot of time crafting tons and tons of things, to have that taken away from you doesn't feel so bad anymore, because it enables you to do more. Yeah, so anyway, let's fly back over here, because I've been looking into how biofuel works. Now, I played around with this, which is an important part of it, the fermenter, and there was something that I overlooked in the tutorial that I was following. Well, I say overlooked, they didn't even mention it, but you need something down the bottom here called a catalyst, I do believe. So you have a liquid that goes into the side, which I put in water. Now you can actually use other ones as well, and this has been happening a lot lately, so let's just take a moment and reconnect. Okay, so where was I? There was a tutorial that didn't specify you needed a catalyst, and there was water that you can put in. You can actually put in other liquids as well, and then you put in your cactus at the top or other materials depending on what you want to do. So I was reading through the wiki and I found out that as well as water you can make liquid honey and apple juice. Now I think Ravens is using apple juice and liquid honey is made from the bees, and we actually have loads of bee drops, which I think is what they're made out of. If we do a quick search for liquid honey, where is it? Liquid glass, liquid nitrogen, liquid DNA, maybe it's in buckets, that's a fuel bucket. Okay, let's search honey because I don't see it there. Maybe it's not an actual block per se, but something, I don't know how it works. Okay, maybe that's it, 'cause that looks like a liquid, doesn't it? And this is made from honeydew, I do believe. Let's have a look. Oh. Yeah, there you go. So we would need honey drops, not honeydew, which comes from the bees, and then we can make liquid honey with that, and that would be better than water. So already we can start off with water, and then when we're ready put in some liquid honey. Now I found out that the sugar cane is worth 0.2, and at the moment I can't remember what these values represent, but obviously the higher the number the better, and so both cactus and sugar cane make 0.2, but the thing you can do with sugar cane is craft it into plant balls, and then if you compress plant balls, they'll be worth a little bit more. So plant balls by themselves are worth 0.4 and compressed ones are worth 0.5. Now there's also saplings here as well, which are worth 0.8, so obviously they'd be the best thing to go for. And I was thinking about using a design that doesn't involve the forestry mod. That's one thing I don't want to use. I really just don't like the idea of plopping down one block that then magically, you know, removes things around you. I like the idea of having blocks that enable you to, you know, pick up the items from the farm like we have over here. So I could do something like that with sugarcane, and that's why I was thinking that I didn't want to use cactus, because with sugarcane I can craft it into plant balls. Or we could look into a system with saplings, which I'm going to need help from Wanez, and he hasn't been on the server much because I think he's struggling to find inspiration with Minecraft these days. But hopefully, if that project that I have in mind is possible, then I could get him involved, and maybe he'd be interested in helping me with this, because it's a really cool idea, but I'm going to speak to him first. And so then we need our catalyst, is the other thing that goes into the fermenter. So there's fertilizer, compost and mulch, and I think compost was the one that I thought would be interesting because Ravens has already done yeah, he's already done mulch, and compost is, oh, that's an A, that's not an O. Yes, it's this stuff right here which looks like cocoa beans. It might just have the same texture, because when I saw that my thoughts were that you could grow them on jungle wood and maybe make a little farm setup, kind of like the one we have over here with the block breakers that could farm all of that, but it's quite possible that that's actually not the same thing. So its item ID is different. Let's just look that up. So it's cocoa beans, isn't it? Yeah, actually the texture is completely different. I think that's the old one they used to use in vanilla. Okay, so I might have to re-evaluate that, but they are the three key components. So we got cactus already, which means we can start producing biofuel, and then we could upgrade that later on. So I can put water in there as well. So I guess the next thing that I need to do is investigate which one of these I can get going, and then we'll be able to produce some biofuel. So I've been talking to Ravenschild and Wanny, and Wanny has actually coded something for the turtles to cut down trees, so we might be able to get our sapling farm up and running. We're going to be doing that in a moment. He's just logged on to help me with that. And I've been looking into getting compost, and Ravens has told me that he's after some soil, which is part of the Zycraft, I think you pronounce it, mod pack, and they've introduced something called Zycorium soil, and basically if you plant wheat on that it will grow within 20 seconds, which is really interesting because I wanted to do wheat originally because you could use it to make plant balls, but you can also use it to make compost. So let's have a look at that quickly. What we would need to do is use the wheat with some dirt, and then we can also make dirt out of there is plant balls which we make out of wheat. So if we can build ourselves a wheat farm, then we can supply both the compost and Actually, no, it's just the compost that we needed. But anyway, so Ravens wanted 8 stacks of this stuff, and I'm going to take 2 stacks to experiment with a plant. What we'll be doing is using red power to create some deployers and some block breakers. So we'll plant all of the seeds on one side, and then 20 seconds later, which is apparently how long it takes for wheat to fully grow using this soil, we'll use the block breaker and then harvest all of that, and then it will repeat the cycle. So that'll be an interesting farm to make. But anyway, I just wanted to show you the crafting of this. Since there wasn't a lot of ingredients, I put the right amount of each thing that we needed in each chest, with the exception of the iron and redstone. So when we put these ones in, we should see everything craft. So let's put in all of our redstone. There we go, you can see it all whizzing away. And now let's put in our iron. And did I put the recipe in? Yes, I did, to the final block, which is this one here. And there you go, look at that, stacks of this stuff is just being crafted before our eyes. If I'd done it right, when this finishes, there should be nothing left in the chests but a little bit of stone, I think. So I think it's almost done already. It doesn't take long at all, does it? And that one stopped on 62 for some reason, and it's still going. Oh, wait a minute. I think it produces 2 each time. So we're actually making 20 stacks of zirconium soil. Amazing. Okay, and let's have a look at what's left over. Nothing in that chest, nothing in that one. So that was well calculated. We've got a little bit left over there. I'm not sure why that is. And then a few stacks of stone bricks, which I put in by mistake. And there you go. Now we have 20 stacks of zirconium soil. So a moment ago I was just standing here AFKing and a creeper blew me up. Now it didn't destroy my obsidian chest, which is great, that's why they're so good, but it did destroy this little tower we had over here with the timer on it. Now before, I'm sure what I did is I placed a red alloy under this, what's it called again? I keep forgetting the name of it. Jacketed wire. And so when you place it there, it connects to that block, and then I'm sure I had the timer like that before, and then it worked and it powered all of these redstone tubes. But it doesn't do that anymore, and I can't figure out why. So I tried putting the timer like this and that there, so it should go up and connect to this redstone alloy, which is now part of the jacketed wire, and it doesn't connect. So I don't know what on earth's going on there. I guess I'll have to go back and look at some old footage to figure out how I wired that up. So the deal with this soil is it doesn't actually grow the wheat in 20 seconds, it just grows it faster than normal wheat. And apparently if you have 30 of it stacked up like this, this will increase the rate that it grows at, but I didn't really see any significant difference there. So I need to investigate and research what's going on with that before we can decide if we want to make a wheat farm or not. Now I have got this biomass thing running. I'm going to be using Ravenschild's community MJs to get my own setup running in the beginning, and then when it produces enough MJs it will start to power the fermenters and other things as well. So what we need to put in here is some cactus, and you'll see it's going to go through this really quickly, and the mulch, it doesn't go through as quick. And if we have a look at our chart, and the one that I want to look at got blown up by the creeper, it would seem, one of them produces more. 2 of them produce 200 and 2 of them produce 250. I think the ones that produce 250 are the mulch and the compost, so it's a good sign that we're not going to need a lot of compost, so this wheat farm that we're going to build might not need to be that big, but there you go. So what I want to do with this is calculate how much cactus turns into how much biofuel and how much of each of these things we'll need, so we can really kind of do the maths behind it and say we're going to need this amount of cactus and that in this amount of time to make this amount of MJs. So that's kind of the next step with all of this. Anyway, that goes into a liquid tesseract. So the biofuel is coming over here, and I haven't turned this on yet. This now has water, and these are full, so we should just change that. And I thought that would mean they would start extracting it. Okay, let's replace those liquid ducts and see if we can get that to work. Probably doing something wrong here. It would appear that I have made an oversight here, perhaps. That doesn't want to extract it. Okay, well I'm going to have to ask Ravenschild and come back to that. In fact, you know what? We can move around so quickly on this map. We could just go and have a quick look at his. And what has he done? He has them with the little arrow, and there doesn't appear to be anything else, although there is this redstone wire. That would be it. Of course, we need redstone power for it. I keep forgetting that. It was the same with the fermenter as well. I was trying to get it to run and I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong, and all it needed was a redstone signal. So let's do like he has and just put those in front there and have one lever, which is handy. Boom, there we go, excellent. And that is filling up really quickly. And now it's not because that's run out. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. So it's going to be a while before I have enough of all this set up to do a proper test, I guess. So I've got more work to do there, and also getting saplings for the tree farm. Sorry, for the biomass using a tree farm. I've set this up over here. This is obviously going to be not that effective because some of the saplings are going to fall outside, but this is just to do a test. And so Juanes is on the server at the moment, and he'll be setting up some turtles, and what they should do is go along, and when there's a tree they'll be able to jump up and detect if there's a block where the sapling would be, and if there is, it means a tree has grown, and it will cut that tree down and then replant the sapling and move on to the next one. So we could build ourselves a really cool big tree farm where these turtles go back and forth, and all the saplings can then drop down into the water. Now some of them might land on the dirt as well, and don't worry about them landing on the dirt on the edge. When we build a proper farm, we'll have walls that go up the sides so all the saplings fall down into the water or onto the dirt, and the turtles will be able to pick up them as they go along. And a spider's fallen in here. It's now a mob trap officially. And then those turtles will come to the end and drop off the saplings. Now we've also been talking about, and this was Juanes' idea, a really good idea, that the turtles use the wood that they pick up to make charcoal, and then they'll power themselves as well. So we'll have a self-sufficient tree farm using the turtles, and then all of those saplings will go down into the water stream, and they'll get sent over to our biomass farm. Now I just want to point out again that I don't want to use forestry. I don't like the machines where you plop down the one in the middle and then it harvests everything in a circle around it. That doesn't really appeal to me. I like, using things like turtles that give you a little bit of functionality and using that in interesting ways. Okay, much time has passed since I last recorded. I can't remember what I left off saying, but anyway, I've made some progress on the fermenter, and Juanes has made some progress on the tree farm as well. So let's take a look at this first of all. We have some filters. These things are awesome, and what they're going to do is take the items from the relay that's above them, and you know what, I can't remember what side's what now. I think this side is cactus, and there you go, you can see it's putting some in there. So let's put all of these cactus that I have in there, and yeah, this will distribute them to all of the fermenters, and you can tell it what slot to put them in as well, so it's quite slow. That's interesting because the rate that it's putting cactus in, it's getting used up before it can barely make any biomass, although there is some down here in the bottom. So anyway, you make this machine and then you can put an upgrade into it. We have a machine filter upgrade in there and also a speed boost so it runs faster. And you can see at the moment it's insert mode into this slot. Now I don't want to press and change anything just yet, but you can also rotate pressing this button through different menus. So visit all, fermenter, so they're the fermenters down there, and then you can see it's also got a speed boost. So let's go look at the other one because we can change the settings on this since it's not doing anything. So we can insert, we can extract, oops, didn't want to do that. We can visit all, visit near, and then you can select the machine. Interesting, I don't know what obsidian is. Oh, there's a lot of stuff around here that's picked up then. Hell of a lot of stuff. And we're back to fermenter. Yeah, so that's how those things work. Also you can pick the slots, you can use other types of logic as well as yeah, that's how you do it. So you can insert into the bottom or the top, south, north, east, west, all of that, and then you can pick the actual slot itself. So that one I think was on 0 and this one was on 1. Nope, okay, so this one over here will be on slot 1. And we're putting the mulch into this bit here, which I'm borrowing from Raven's Child to get going. I'm also using his MJs as well from the community MJ farm that he has. But over time we'll be able to turn this thing into a self-sufficient farm. So let's have a look. I think we've run out of cactus again. Might have to use 2 routers to get it in fast enough, I'm not sure really. So let's grab a fair bit more of that. And I can't sprint, I need to eat. I'm not used to travelling so slow. Okay, so let's put all the cactus in there. And now it should distribute all of that. So we are producing biomass, as you can see. And I've actually laid this out with the layout that I think I want to use. I might change my mind But what I was thinking was that you would actually be standing at a lower height, so you'd be standing down here when you come into the room. So your level height with this, you can see what's going on, how much biomass and water it has, and then you can see the pipes above and below it as well. I thought that would be a nice effect. But behind here we also have the redstone conduits to power that, and the pipe underneath has to have a redstone signal to tell it to extract the biomass from the pipes, from the fermenters even. And funny little story, when trying to craft these, I kept looking up the wrong thing. I couldn't remember the name of it, and I crafted 15 carpenters, and oh, I had 21 fermenters the whole time. Well, I crafted 15 of these, and then 25 centrifuges, and then 21 fermenters. Well, I already had the fermenters, so yeah. So that is that setup. Let's go and look at what Wannes has been doing over here. Now, he's got it so his program is going to go around, and I don't know if we'll be going to be able to see this in action just yet. I'll speak to him in a moment. This is going to go around, and it's... oh, here it goes. Excellent. So every so many blocks where there's a tree, it's going to go up, and I think when it's up at that block there, it's going to look to see if there's a block in front of it, and if there is, it's then going to cut down that tree. So when it gets to the end here, it should go around the corner. Yep, off it goes. A little turtle flying around. So it's going to go over that one, and then it's going to go back down, and this time it's going to see, yep, and then it harvests all of it. That's excellent, that is. Then it plops back down another sapling and continues on its way. That is fantastic. And so what it's going to do is it's going to come back round here, and that's where it's going to pick up its fuel from, or possibly this one, I'm not sure. It's supposed to dump all of its items into a chest, and then that is going to take the wood that it collects from cutting down the trees and put them into this fabricator, which is then going to turn them into planks and put them into this chest. So it's going to take that and use the planks as fuel. And then on this side, this thing here will take out any other items like saplings and apples and all of that, and it will send them off to our sorting machine up there in the sky. So as well as that, oh, I see he's moved this, so I built this little setup here, but he's compacted it a little bit. This is basically... oh, no, what am I doing? Okay, I'm making a mess. You can't right click on this, but this is it's not a filter, it's a transposer, I think. So when items come down here, there's a clock that sets this off every so often. We've got a spider in there, and it sucks the items and sends them into the master inline. Oh, I'm not surprised, it looks like there could be a few mobs in there. Yeah, so that is the progress that we made so far on the tree farm, and I'll speak to Wannes and see if there's anything else I need to show you. I just explained, I think I explained all of it. Yeah, I just thought of a problem though. Down the bottom here, you're going to have so many oak wood planks over time, it's probably going to build them up, right, for the amount that it's going to cut down in a cycle. Yeah, it wouldn't be able to use them all up, so you might need some sort of like inventory management going on there.
Yeah, of course. But that's easily fixed by having a tesseract or something connected to these pipes, because it's always going to pick this chest if there is room.
Yes.
There isn't.
Of course.
Just use the...
oh, he's back.
What is he doing?
He just dumped a load of items.
Yeah.
What was that he threw? I'm not sure. He threw something down here. I couldn't tell what it was.
Probably saplings or something. Yeah. See, that's like an issue I'm having at the moment. If he gets stuck because of a mob or something, then it messes up.
Okay. Well, what we'll do is, like, if we call this a test run, when we figure out how big we need it to be, the farm, etc., what we can do is maybe have one turtle per row, and then it will have all the glowstone, so there'll be no mobs. It will have everything configured for it, so it can go back and forth. And actually, that might be a tad inefficient, because then the turtle would be, you know, wasting fuel going back and forth. But I guess you could put like a once every minute it goes or something.
It can handle one turtle per layer easily if we light this up, and there's no mobs and stuff, and we remove all the dirt that is in between.
Oh yeah, it doesn't need to be there even, does it? Yeah. And then that way more saplings will fall into the water. Yep, that's good.
And yeah, we also need to change the saplings with birch. so that we don't get these big trees.
Yeah, I did put these up here, but it's only done it, like, I've only done it for 3 rows. But we should look into what the different saplings do, because I know there's lots of different types of trees, and maybe different saplings, you know, there could be an advantage from doing a different type of tree. We should probably speak to King about that, because he's quite knowledgeable.
As far as I know, birch trees have the same amount of leaves than these, if they grow.
Yeah, they do.
So I think birch is really the easiest. And also the planks look cooler, so...
Yes.
Would
More
be
building
nice
materials.
A stock of that. But yeah, is this a successful test for you, or?
Yeah, no, you've proved it can work. I mean, we had a little problem there with the turtle throwing over the edge, but that's just something to be configured. But I like this because we've used something different from forestry to create a cool tree farm. It's certainly not going to be compact, but sometimes it's fun to do things differently, so I really like it. We're going to have to build a big tree farm building somewhere. What I'll probably do is quarry out an area in the new land and then have like a sort of building at the top, and then when you go down inside there's a big tree farm underground. Yeah. You also need to do some calculating because... oh, there's a guy over here. All of this is to produce biomass, so if, let's say we build one of these that goes from bedrock all the way up to this height, and it's not enough to make the amount of biomass that we need, it might end up being like a slow way of doing this, if you see what I mean. So we don't want to end up having to make ourselves tons of work, like we have to build, you know, like, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of these just to get it running, so there's a bit more calculating to do with it. Have you seen the ambrosia machine?
No.
Okay, let me bring you some ambrosia. It's a bit slow, and annoyingly, I need a way to like calculate how many materials it needs each time it crafts it, because at the moment it dumps loads of stuff into a chest.
I need to recharge my jetpack.
Let me bring you some ambrosia. Here, check this out. Oh.
Okay. I've seen it before.
It's basically the best food there is. See, now you're regenning.
For 40 seconds. Yeah,
exactly.
Pretty cool.
And you can drink it, or, well yeah, it's a drink, isn't it? You can drink it when your hunger bar's full, so...
yeah, I just did that.
It's basically a potion and food. Yeah, so this farm is nice. Yeah, I'm going to have to speak to King because he understands so much more, but once we can calculate how much of this we're going to need, then we'll see if it's going to be like a good idea, because yeah, that's one problem that I didn't think about, is if what we've built like so far is just like hardly anything for the biomass, then it might not be the best idea, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Well, we would first then need to know how many saplings this gives, like one layer, because obviously we're going to need more than one layer, but if we know how much this gives, then we can do calculations, how much energy that it returns.
I can't help but feel that maybe spacing the saplings out isn't a good idea either, because if you put them close together and you leave it for ages, then they're all going to grow close together and you're not going to get maybe as many as saplings in return. But if you've got a turtle going back and forth on one line and it's all covered in saplings, then as soon as a new tree plops up, it should cut it down quick enough. So the trees would be growing faster for the amount of space that you're using, because what we have at the moment, the amount of trees that grow will be less, if you see what I mean, than if we had more saplings.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's going to be like a real balancing act, but yeah, I reckon this is going to be good.
Yeah, there's already one thing I know I can make better about my program, because now he always moves up and down, and I can actually just let him move in a straight line.
Ah, and then will it look up when it's standing where the sapling is to look for a block?
Yeah, at the moment he moves over the sapling, but I can just let it move straight.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to be at the same height as the sapling, does it?
Yeah, but then I really need the birch trees, because these can grow. Yeah, as you can see, the leaves can grow one block above the ground.
Let me see if there's any birch saplings. if we use birch, we can still have the saplings next to each other because they can't grow next to each other.
Oh yeah, that's also.
But you're increasing the odds of one of them growing. So as the turtle goes back and forth, you have more chance of the tree growing each time because there's more of them.